What's going on, y'all? Welcome back once again to the Pound for Pound Boxing Channel. I'm your boy, Mac, and today we've got some breaking news as David El Monstro Benavidez will continue his legacy as he will be taking on David Morrel sometime early in January of 2025. Some may even discuss that Canelo is avoiding a fight with either or of these guys, but as usual, I will be handing this over to my co-host. Now, let's talk boxing.
Welcome back to the Pound for Pound Boxing Channel. My name's Eric.
And I'm Alex.
And big news coming out of the boxing world today as we have now heard that David Benavidez is confirmed to fight David Morrel in a spectacular fight that everybody's been anticipating. First off, I want to start with saying, these guys are very respectable. It really reminds me of an old school fight. The fact that David Benavidez was scheduled to face Jesse Hart and said, you know what, everybody wants the David Morrel fight. Let me fight David Morrel and test my legacy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm impressed with David Benavidez, and same thing with Morrel. They didn't have to fight each other. They could have waited it out. They could have done all these things like Mayweather and Pacquiao. But you know what? They said, we're going to do like a classic fight from the 80s, 90s, 70s and go fight each other, the best fighting the best, and that's what we need.
Like I said, it reminds me of the old school fight just because both of them aren't champions at 175. We know that this weekend it will be Benavidez versus Bivol, which I recommend you guys tune into if you guys want to see one of the best fights in boxing. But again, Morrel nor Benavidez are champions at the current weight class. But the fact that they are both highly ranked contenders and they're fighting against each other instead of saying, oh, let's sit out and wait out until we get that opportunity against the champion, that's what makes these fights very classic and very much of a better fight.
Now, I want to ask you, would you say this is like a Sugar Ray Leonard and a Tommy Hearns type of fight? What I'm trying to say is that both guys in their 20s, in their prime, and they're actually fighting.
It does seemingly look like that. I mean, of course, their styles are completely different.
Yeah, obviously.
But apart from that, it does. Like I said, it's just two of the best guys in the division fighting against each other. And guess what? Whoever wins that fight more than likely will face the winner of the undisputed crown, which is going to be either between Benavidez or Bivol. So this weight class is starting to grow. And we also know that Canelo is only one weight division below, so that fight could always happen. I mean, I'm just very happy with what David Benavidez has been doing as of late. He's been wanting that Canelo fight. He's been calling him out. He's been the mandatory for a couple years. He doesn't get the fight, and he said, okay, you know what? Instead of crying about it, I'm going to build my own legacy. I'm going to make my own route. We already saw him take on Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andrade, Gvozdyk, and now this guy, David Morrel, who's an up-and-coming young fighter who's in his prime.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is as an early prediction, it's going to be like a 50-50 fight. The only thing that worries me is that Turki Al-Sheikh was talking about he wants either Bivol or Beterbiev, the winner of that, to face Jay Opetaia. So, I don't know. Hopefully, whoever wins this fight actually fights Benavidez. And if not, I wouldn't have too many issues with him fighting Opetaia, but I just think that's too much of a jump in weight.
Yeah, of course. I mean, people go up in weight divisions all the time, but what I'm proud to say is that this weight division is really shaping into one of the best weight divisions.
It's starting to look good.
In boxing, 175 has always had great fighters, but has never really been known to be the best weight class in boxing. But now we're getting a bunch of superstars. I'm sure a couple of fighters at 168 are going to come up as well. We know Edgar Berlanga almost came in at cruiserweight against Canelo, so he might be moving up to 175 in the near future. Canelo has spoken and said that he does want to fight Bivol as a rematch. And, there's always money in those fights for Canelo. He knows that he's the money generator, but at the same time, he knows 168 is a done division. He's beat everybody there.
Yeah.
Who else is he going to fight? So that means it's either these guys are going to go back down to 168 to face off against Canelo, or Canelo might have to come back up and take on whoever's there. This is a good weight division. It's a good weight class. Would you say David Benavidez, how good would you rate David Benavidez on the scale of him making his own path?
He got a lot of respect from me. At first, I was really against David Benavidez, but now looking at all the opponents he's faced and that he's not ducking no one, even jumping up a weight class, he wasn't too sure on how he would feel in that weight class, and he still looked fantastic against Alexander Volstik. You know, I know he gets a bunch of hate, but I thought he looked really good in that fight, especially since it was his first fight at 175.
You know, and that's the respectable thing about these young, hungry fighters. We see even Teofimo Lopez, right? People call him crazy all the time. He's been talking about fighting Bud Crawford. And, of course, we all know that Bud Crawford is levels above him. But at the same time, what I like about the young fighter is the fact that when he called out Vasily Lomachenko, nobody believed in him, and he beat him. When he called Josh Taylor out at 140, the undisputed king, nobody believed in him, especially after the bad performances like against Kambosos and Ocampa. But again, he beat Josh Taylor. Now he's calling out Terrence Crawford, which obviously is a different ship. But at the same time, these are the type of fighters that boxing needs. People like Teofimo Lopez, David Benavidez, they're respectable fighters because they're always chasing the best fights.
So would you say someone like Canelo's bad for boxing?
He's not bad because Canelo has already made his legacy.
But that's not what I'm asking. I'm talking about right now, he's technically bad for boxing.
He's not bad. And I want to say this. He's not bad. He's just, obviously picking his opponents at this point. The reason I'm saying he's not bad is because even if he isn't fighting the top contender in his weight division, he's still giving a chance for these young, up-and-coming, undefeated fighters to have a chance in there with him. And he's setting up the future in a sense where even though he beats them, and we know they're not on his caliber, they're going to be that much greater in the near future because once you face someone like a Canelo, like a Floyd Mayweather, just like he did, you become 10 times better. And I think the trajectory at the end of the day of Jaime Munguia and Edgar Berlanga, they're going to get that much better.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean, but I'm not sure on how I feel about that. I feel like Canelo, he should have fought Benavidez. Obviously you think the same thing, just like everyone else. But I think someone like Munguia, someone like Berlanga, it's not worthy to say that he's good for boxing because of that. Just because these guys are young and they have they got their whole career ahead of them, doesn't mean it's good for the sport.
I mean, but regardless, like I said, Canelo's already made his own path. Of course, we all want to see him fight David Benavidez. There's no question. But at the same time, he's already fought the hardest fights. He's already fought the guys in that division. He's already went undisputed. So, of course, as a boxing fan, we're always going to want him to fight the best. But in return, once it's said and done for his career, we're going to look back and say, man, he beat Jaime Munguia when Jaime Munguia was undefeated. He beat Edgar Berlanga when Edgar Berlanga was undefeated. So, like I said, at the end, the trajectory is going to look that much better.
For the Benavidez and Morrel fight, that's perfect. That's what we need. Benavidez is good for the sport.
And that's something that I agree with. And, of course, props to David Morrel. We know he had a hard fight, his last fight against Hot Rod Kalajdzic, of course. But he still got the job done. He's been coming off impressive wins, but that last fight, new weight division, we know Benavidez didn't look all that good at 175 either. He got kind of gassed out in the end of the fight. But regardless, this kid's hungry. He's been calling out David Benavidez for a minute. So I know he will give him issues. But that's another time for another topic. Let us know what you guys think. Are you guys excited at the fact that these young fighters like David Benavidez want to chase their own legacy? Thank you guys for tuning in. My name's Eric.
And I'm Alex.
And I'm your boy, Mac. Thank you guys once again for tuning into the Pound for Pound Boxing channel. You guys already know what to do. Make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and we're out.